you can trust. The Morning Answer with Brian Whitman and Jennifer Horn. This is The Morning Answer.
Thanks for joining us on The Morning Answer. The morning after the primary election, Brian and Jennifer looking over these results with congratulations in order for retired Judge Stephen Bailey, a Republican. He got over 962,000 votes yesterday, good for 25%. That puts him in a runoff with Javier Becerra in November to potentially become the next Attorney General of California. You beat out your Republican colleague, Eric Surley.
Early, Brian.
Early, I'm sorry. So congratulations, Judge Stephen Bailey. Welcome to The Morning Answer, and congratulations on your victory last night, your second-place finish.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, this was a big night. We got to talk to Judge Bailey at his party last night. And, Judge, I happened to see some photos going behind the scene. You had your whole family out there, including your campaign staff filled with granddaughters. They were pretty adorable.
How big is your family, Judge?
Well, we have 3 grandkids and 3 kids. And we had the grandkids out along with the parents. And my granddaughter decided to write a speech yesterday, so she had to give her own speech.
That's adorable.
We noticed, and we'll explore this in a moment, that unfortunately my man Antonio Villaraigosa didn't get the kindness of a phone conversation from Gavin Newsom yesterday. Did you get the kindness of a phone conversation from Eric Early, your Republican opponent?
Well, I didn't, but sometimes these campaigns rub people raw, and so I'm not particularly surprised. Eric ran really a very, very good campaign, very polite. We stayed focused on what the issues were, both the issues between the two of us, but also the issues that I think are important to Californians, and that's where this state's going to go over the next 4 years. And who's going to lead be the chief law enforcement and law officer for the state of California.
I have to say, Judge Bailey, and then Jennifer has a question for you. I voted, full disclosure, you're my friend. I can tell you we're friends. I voted for Javier Becerra. I'm a card-carrying Democrat. I believe that President Donald Trump wants to make the bluest of blue states, California, Trump country, and I don't think Californians want that. And I think Javier Becerra is on the front lines fighting that. Am I wrong-headed to have that perspective, Judge Bailey?
Well, I certainly respect your opinion on that. I don't think Californians are particularly interested in what's happening in Washington one way or the other. We're concerned here in this state with the problems that each and every one of us deal with on a daily basis. One is the safety of our family. 2 is our ability to have a job and get to our job and not have to worry about what's happening with our property, our homes, our family, our kids, and our grandkids here in this state. And I think that's, what I'm going to bring, and those are the issues that I'm going to be talking about over the next 5 months as we start engaging in the debate that I think is very critical to California citizens.
5-second answer. 5-second answer. Attorney General of California would be like Jeff Sessions, the chief cop, the top cop of California, correct?
Well, basically, but it's a constitutional office as opposed to the Attorney General of the United States. I mean, we become the leader on public safety issues here in the state.
So, Judge Bailey, I think it's and I want you to finish your answer. I'm so interested in strategy because, I supported you. We've talked about this, and I am happy to see that you made it into the top 2 spots moving into November, because I think California, you're right, is much less concerned about what's going on with Washington, D.C. and those very small pieces of back and forth with President Trump and his Twitter feed, and more concerned about whether or not their family's going to be safe, whether or not Javier Becerra Becerra is actually honoring the law. Those are of concern, I think, more than anything to California. So how does your strategy shift now? Now that with the jungle primary in California, you had to run against Republicans, you had to run against 2 Democrats. How do you focus in now on Javier Becerra, and what's your strategy moving forward?
Well, I think, it's straightforward from here to talk to the entire electorate. As the primary, we spent most of our time talking to Republican voters. Part of our strategy was to secure the party's endorsement. We succeeded at that. We're right on schedule with where we want to be. Our polling information indicates that Republicans, Democrats, and independents are concerned about the direction that California is going and will go over the next 4 years. And so our message doesn't necessarily change, but the way we message it to the neighborhoods will change. We will get right down to talking to voters in Whittier, in Riverside, in some of the other communities, all of the other communities within the state of California.
Retired judge,
message and talk to them.
Yeah, retired Judge Stephen Bailey is our guest. He is the number 2 finisher. He will be in the runoff with Attorney General Javier Becerra. It's important to look at the statistics here. Javier Becerra, as you know, Judge Bailey, did not break 50%. He only got 45% of the popular vote. You got 25%. Your colleague, Republican Eric Early, got 15%. That would be 40% of people who voted for Republicans versus 45% who voted for Javier Becerra. Numbers never cross over exactly. The 15 of Eric Early doesn't automatically go to Stephen Bailey, but imagine for a moment they do. The case is still made that there are plenty of Republicans in California who, Republicans and Democrats alike, I would assume, who are unhappy with Javier Becerra. Do you see it that way as you strategize going forward?
We think, we know that many Californians are unhappy with the current direction of California. I don't know whether they are focused directly on Becerra, but quite frankly, they're not happy with the direction California's going.
But don't you have to make them?
Those issues.
But don't you have to make them unhappy with Becerra to win?
No, I don't. That I need to demonize my opponent as much as I have to articulate issues that are important to California's citizens. And, I don't think the issues ought to be whether you like this individual or that individual, but whether you are confident that the person that you're going to vote for in November is going to lead the state, lead the law enforcement community to provide the protections that we as Californians want. So often we get into these protracted debates as to whether, this particular individual is good or bad. I want to focus the debate on what the issues that are facing Californians in the next 4 years. And those are issues of, are our streets safe? Are we getting felons that are possessing firearms? Are we getting those firearms and getting them off the street? Are we writing fair and objective ballot titles and summaries? These are the types of things that I think Californians are concerned about, that the current incumbent, Mr. Becerra, is not focusing on.
Republican. Go ahead. Finish, please. No, I want you to finish that thought. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Californians are concerned about those types of issues, not the tweets coming out of Washington.
Republican retired Judge Stephen Bailey, you sound like the kind of candidate who is prepared to run a civil, statesmanly campaign for California's Attorney General office. Came in second yesterday, good for 25% of the vote. He will be in November in the runoff one-on-one with Javier Becerra for the position of California Attorney General. As always, thank you for appearing on The Morning Answer. We wish you well, and we know that over the next 5 months we'll talk to you again and again and again.
I hope so.
Thank you, Judge.
Love talking to both of you.
Thank you, Judge. Appreciate it very much.